I just filmed an entire video just to realize that it was not in focus. Hi guys, I'm Annie, aka the Butterfly Artist, and this is life as a content creator. Welcome to my painting and pouring series, where I'll be painting while I'm pouring out, which means that I'm discussing topics that are either art related or about life in general. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the evolution of my artwork, how I went from just doing nature as a child to doing emotions, trauma, social issues once I got older, and why I am changing my style now. I'm going through this story so that when we go on to the future episodes, y'all will understand exactly why this change is coming about. So I've done art my entire life, but when I was a child, I think maybe like around 6 or so, that's when I first started painting on canvases. I could be wrong. But I don't know, I just know I was really young and I definitely wasn't 10 yet. And the paintings I was doing at the time were mostly trees, which is what inspired me to then want to be an environmentalist. At the time, I didn't even know what an environmentalist was, and by this point I was now 11. But I told myself, okay, I'm drawing trees all the time, so I want to be an environmentalist. So that's how I actually became interested in STEM and science. It was through art. A lot of my pieces were basically just leaves and trees, or I even painted my parrot in a tree. I also had one with a river, but it was mostly just trees and foliage. Then once I got a bit older, so this is now like my mid-teens, I was in secondary school and we had to do SBAs for our exam. Those are basically just like projects. We had to pick a theme and I went with emotions and feelings because I feel like everybody else was doing nature and I wanted to stand out. Typical me. That's how I started getting into emotions and meaningful art, symbolic art, traumatic and social issues related art, because of school, but also at that time it was based on my personal experiences as well. I really wanted to tell the story of how I felt, but I was covering it up because I didn't want people to be concerned and asking me questions. So it was basically a mix. I just thought it would be cool to bring awareness to certain topics. Like I did a piece about suicide, and then I did another one about gender roles, but then there were also some that were based on my own personal experiences. For example, there was one that it had a double meaning. For me, it was me being a puppet on everybody's string, trying to live up to everybody else's expectations of me, and the double meaning of it had to do with slavery and the abolishment of it. So that's how I got into trauma, social issues. It was just me wanting to stand out and also me telling a story about my own experiences, as well as bringing awareness to topics that I just felt like were too common in society, things that we just let be normal when it really shouldn't be, and we needed to change that. However, after I finished school, I was actually super burnt out, so I wasn't doing art for a while. Like I would still pick up my paintbrush and I was still trying to paint. However, I just couldn't get it done, and I think what I learned at that time was that it's kind of hard to paint something when you're literally going through it. Because at this point now I'm using art as a way to express what I'm going through. It was easier to almost like paint what I was feeling rather than to put it into words. I have quite a few pieces that just took me a while to do, and I will explain this in another episode of this. I'll come back to this, guys. This is important. Fast forward to 2022. This is when I did my first nature painting in years. This bad boy right here, I named it Beyond Our Shores. It's super small, it's on wood, and at the time when I painted this, I just wanted to try painting on wood for the first time. So I was like, what am I gonna paint? And I don't even know how I came up with this idea. I don't know if it was the homesickness or if I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do a turtle. But I decided I was gonna paint this, and I got it done pretty quickly. I mean, it is small, it only took me a week. But that's when I realized, wow, like I'm spending all this time trying to do these other paintings that are about emotions, trauma, social issues, and they're taking me forever to do because it's so draining. Little did I realize at the time. But here's this nature painting that I did that just got it done in no time. After that piece, I went on to this one, Morning Melodies, which is a hummingbird and 2 hibiscus flowers. This one also I did it around the same time. No, I did not finish it as quickly because of the amount of paint it required, since I was going to do impasto at the time. So I did continue it this year and I finished it, but again it did not take me that long. So now I'm doing nature paintings, and in my mind I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really a nature artist, I'm just painting these things to paint them. But that really just opened up my mind completely, and it led to me changing my style now, which I will talk more about in another episode. So stay tuned, follow for more, and I will see you then. Toodles!